Now then, it's been a while. I am just doing a little ride out, bit of an update. On my way to Skipton to meet a friend. Then we're going to bumble over to York. Got to pop into uni. And then back via the Yorkshire Dales, I think. Back to Skipton, where we shall split up. So, yeah, what's been going on? Talking about university. Finished my second year now. It did alright. Not too alright. Not as good as I could have done. Not too bad. And when I think of the amount of effort I put in, especially over the first 2/3 this year, it's not bad at all. So, yeah, that's uni. Little bit sad as well, because I'm taking a year out of uni. A motivational leave of absence, I believe it's technically called, because I've got a job for a year. Like a student placement job. Just, I'm doing it a bit differently, that's all. So anyway, yeah, which is sad for a few reasons. One, I'm going to miss all the people in York, although a few people are doing placements too, so I'll know a few people when I go back for my third year in about 15 months, 16 months time. But also sad because it means I'm leaving Yorkshire, and for the first time in my life I'll be living outside of Yorkshire. The job, I don't want to really go too detailed. It's one of my motivations for leaving a full-time job to go and study at university, because I'm 24, so I'm a bit older than typical second year uni student. And one of my motivations was I wanted to go and work in the motorsport industry. And that's where I've landed myself a job. So I moved down south to Buckinghamshire area, we'll say. Since that doesn't really narrow it down, since every decent motorsport team in the world pretty much is based there. Well, car-wise anyway, I guess. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for the next year. And also I don't have a garage down there, which means no motorbike, at least for the first 6 months. I've signed a contract for a house for 6 months, but I'm only going to be there for 12, 13, 14 months, so I'll probably just keep it on, since the rent's fairly reasonable. It's cheaper than what I'm paying in York, includes all my bills and everything. And it seems to be in a decent area. Not that I know the place, to be honest, but I asked on a few forums and it seemed to be the best sort of area to be in. So yeah, that's what's happening with me for the next year. So this little trip to York, and then I'm going to York again in the car later on this week, because I've still got to pick up some stuff from my old house. And then that'll be it. Some of the people I'll possibly never see again. Which, for some of the people that's a good thing, and for some other people that's a bad thing, because yeah, some decent people who I've met in York. So what else have I got to say? New helmet, which you might be able to tell because it's the first time I've ever used the mic with this helmet. And I've no idea how this is going to come out. Hopefully it'll come out okay. And as you can see, I've changed the camera position, and I believe the angle's a lot better now. There's a few reasons why the angle's better. For me, obviously it's just nicer to view the road ahead and the scenery. And if you have a look at a couple of videos I did earlier last week, where I went to Wales, and it's just a much better angle for them sort of videos. And also, you're less focused on my instruments. So if I ever do make a mistake and slip over to 31, then you won't notice now, which is good. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. And also I moved down south on, just trying to think, Saturday coming, which will be the 28th, I believe. and then the weekend after I have to come back to Yorkshire because I'm doing the National Road Rally, which I don't think I've talked about before. Bit of an old man thing. You travel around the country, do 500 miles in about 18 hours, stopping off at checkpoints, but it always works out at more than 500 because the maps are never right what they give you. Like one of the links is 25 miles, apparently, but there's no way you can do it less than 32. No way at all. And also there's Tour de France that weekend, which has just royally fucked us up, which means we actually have to, instead of starting in Halifax like we normally would, which is 10-15 minute ride, we have to start in Accrington, which is going to be an hour's ride. And because of Tour de France, we can't even take the decent roads to Accrington because all the roads are closed. So we're going to have to go on the motorway. I suppose it munches the miles away though. So yeah, moving down south is it's going to be sad. I absolutely love Yorkshire. It's one of my most favourite places in the world. Although I have to say, when I went to Wales last week, that is a beautiful place for riding. Absolutely beautiful. The road's nice and wide as well, so there's lots of overtaking opportunities, which is good. So you don't tend to get stuck behind people as much. So yeah, National Road Rally, doing it with a friend and my uncle. What we'll fucking do him here. Yeah, doing it with a friend and my uncle, and it should be a good laugh. I really do enjoy it. I've only done it twice before, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, new helmet as well, which is a showy like my old one. My old one were an XR1000, it was 7 years old. This is a showy GT Air. That's my old fan. This is a showy GT Air, and it's got a lot more soundproofing and wind noise protection than my XR. And boy, you can tell, because friggin' hell, it's fucking hot in here, man. It is so warm when you're stationary. This is not a helmet for commuting. Could not wear this through traffic. This is very much, because when you're pushing on, the ventilation is absolutely fantastic and you get it all where you need it. But when you're just going these sort of speeds, Jesus Christ, it's hot in here. But yeah, it's got built-in sun visor, which I really wanted. I really did. And it's shit, because it just fogs up. But it's got a pin lock, and it's a little bit heavier than my XR. I don't know. I think I preferred the XR as a helmet, but it was 7 years old. It needed changing. And I think this is probably the best helmet on the market at the moment, so I went for this one. Although it took me ages to buy it, because I was not willing to pay retail. And because of that, I ended up getting a solid colour. I don't mind the solid colour, because I chose the graphics on my last one when I was like 17, and a lot of people recently have been taking the piss out of me because it looks interesting, to say the least. Although I think I still quite like it. So right, now we're going to get on the bypass, so I think that's it for the vlog. This is where I said I wanted to stop talking, so I might think of something, but for the time being, goodbye.